What's up everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about my personal experience in building my 2020 Subaru WRX STI. So I was a huge Subaru fanboy for a while. I remember, there was a neighbor that I had when I was younger, and he had an old Hawkeye, and man, I fell in love with that car from a young age. And so I have now since owned 4 Subarus, 3 WRXs, and then my 2020 STI, which I recently made a video on. If you guys want to check it out, I kind of went over my build list and everything there, but I'll kind of touch on those today, so that way you guys can get kind of a good understanding on what I did and why I feel the way I do, I guess. So to begin, I'll start by talking about my build list, everything that I did. I purchased the car, and the first mod that I did was a catback exhaust. Went with the ETS Extreme. That exhaust on both the FA WRX and the EJ, STI, sounds so good. The build quality is amazing. It looks amazing. Fitment is perfect. So I went with that. Even if you didn't do a downpipe, like if you just did the catback portion and left the stock downpipe on there, plenty loud, beautiful sound. Highly recommend them if you really want to unlock that boxer rumble. It is amazing. As far as the downpipe goes, I did the MA Performance catted downpipe. I'd previously used them on my FA WRX. Their quality is really good, so went with them. Intake, I did the ETS intake. That one doesn't seem to be super common, but I personally was happy with it. Good sound. It held up, very well, so no complaints there. As far as the intercooler went, I also did the ETS intercooler. If you guys are getting the trend here, ETS's products are amazing. So I went ETS catback, intercooler, and intake. So after the intake, we've got the Perrin turbo inlet. That's in there. Did the NGK 2309 spark plugs, 1050X injectors. I believe it was Subaru Dynamics. Yeah, it was Subaru Injector Dynamics, the 1050X injectors. We got the Cobb fuel pressure regulator on there. We have the WRX 300C fuel pump. Cobb comes out with that stage 2 power kit where it comes, it includes fueling and stuff. Am I out of focus? Bruh. It comes with fueling, and they were saying that they've had problems with the AEM fuel pumps failing, so ended up opting for the WRX, and obviously didn't have any problems there. Did the intake air temp relocation. It's not really anything that is going to do anything power wise, but I guess it was important for monitoring purposes to do that, so that was on there. And then the most fun, the biggest, most expensive part was the Blouch Dominator 1.5 XTR turbo. That turbo is it's a stock mounting turbo, so you didn't have to do a rotated setup, nothing like that. So I opted for that. So what I'm gonna do now, since we're done with all the engine mods and everything, I'm gonna put a video right here so you guys can hear what it sounded like. It sounded mint. Now I'm gonna put a dyno graph on here and let you guys take a look at what all of those parts together made on my car. Now obviously every car is different, so if you were to replicate this exact same build list, put it on your own car, you could get more, you could get less. I wanted my tuners to know that I was going for a more reliable build, so I did not want them to push as much power as possible out of this car. We were super close to 400 wheel horsepower. A lot of people, you know, they'll talk about like going E85 or doing equal length headers. And for me, I thought about it. I originally wanted to do equal length with a external wastegate setup, but I mean, for emissions purposes and stuff like that, it wasn't going to work out. And my tuner, you know, they were saying that, you know, doing an external wastegate is not going to add any power. But yeah, you know, I could have made more power if I wanted to, but you know, it wasn't worth, you know, the extra few $1,000s to do that. So my personal experience with this build, I didn't have any reliability issues. It was, you know, perfectly fine there. You know, there's several gripes that I have though. So the boost lag, the EJ in and of itself on a stock turbo is already, you know, a late boosting car. When you think about an FA WRX, I believe peak torque comes in at like 2,000 RPM, something like that. So it's like, you know, that twin scroll turbo, it gets up there quick. The EJ is not like that. You know, you won't really hit that boost until anywhere between probably 3,000 to 4,000 RPMs, and you do, you know, a bigger turbo setup, and obviously you're now extending that, so it's later. So if I was to drive that car, you know, not hitting boost, so staying between 0 to probably 3,700 RPM, somewhere around there, the car was dead slow. It'd be like driving a, you know, an EJ NA you know, Subaru Outback or something. Like it was slow, and then, you know, when you hit the boost, you'd get that throwback motion. The car, the way that the power was, because of that boost lag, it was not a very fast 0 to 60 car. I personally was extremely disappointed doing 0 to 60 runs in that car because of that lag. It was like in that 6 second range, which is kind of unacceptable, because when you look up 0 to 60 times on like a Civic Si, that's kind of like where a stock Civic Si runs in, you know, like a perfect condition, sea level, you know, environment. Now obviously I live over a mile above sea level, so there is going to be some power loss, which I understood that, but 6 seconds was 6.5 seconds, whatever it was like ridiculous for me. Now if you wanted to do roll races where you're already sitting higher in the RPMs, you know, on the highway, and you have proper distance to run through the gears, okay, the car was fast, you know, in those higher gears. It almost reminded me of like an Autobahn type car, because, you know, it pulled in those higher RPMs, but from 0 to 60 it was garbage. For me and the way I drive, I'm not somebody who is, you know, driving triple digits, like just romping through the gears, you know, lane split and going crazy. So it was a disappointment for me in terms of daily drivability. So you might be asking, is this something that you should do? What I would say when it comes to building an EJ is you need to understand that it's very expensive to get not a lot of power. I went bigger turbo, fueling system, all that stuff, and the car still didn't touch 400 horsepower. And you will look at other builds, people who do the same turbo. I mean, people do the Cobb, you know, the 20G turbo. You know, there's different routes that you can go, but at the end of the day, you know, if you're not doing a built block rotated turbo like crazy setup, you're not going to make insane power. That's just the way it is. It's very expensive for not a lot of power. When you think about a BMW, for example, downpipe and tune, you know, some of those cars will seriously make like 500 plus wheel horsepower, and you're spending a couple grand. And then you talk about an EJ where you're doing bigger turbo, all this stuff, and it's still not touching, you know, 400 wheel horsepower, or 500 for that matter. You need to realize what you're getting yourself into. You need to do what makes you happy. Me personally, going through that build, I was not happy. I was not happy with the amount of money that I dropped, which I'll tell you guys, I spent approximately, I want to say $13,000 to get that build where, but the Subaru platform, I mean, the community, it can be great. You know, they can be a lot of fun to drive. The all-wheel drive system, I cannot knock that all-wheel drive system at all. I live in a climate where there's snow, and it eats in the snow. So it really, the main factor that it comes down to is you need to do what makes you happy. But the big asterisk there is realize that it's going to be expensive to make not a lot of power. With that, you know, you guys just do what makes you happy. You know, screw what everybody else thinks. It's your car, you do what you want. But, you know, learn from me. Don't expect to go into this making big power. I do have a big update to tell you guys. So I sold the STI, and we've got a very, very fun new car that's gonna be coming to the channel, and I can't wait to show you guys. So there will be future videos on what is to come, but either way, thank you guys for watching and tuning in to another video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because we do have some amazing content that's gonna come. But thank you guys. See ya.